Hello everyone, today I'm speaking to the Strangers Club. We have George, Lee, Harry and Richard. How are you all today?
Doing good, Grace. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So first of all, how did you get together as a band and why are you called the Strangers Club?
Um, well, we all kind of got together because Harry, Lee, and myself go to Bournemouth University. Richard is a latest member of the band, and we all just kind of I put out a advertisement basically saying that for years I've been trying. I'd been in a small band at a secondary school, but then that kind of fell to pieces, as you might expect. And I just kept trying to find the right people, and I just kept saying, they're right around the corner, right around the corner. And then all of a sudden, Lee messaged me, and he was like, "Yo, do you want to start a band?" And I was like, "Let me think about it."
Left me hanging.
I'm not even joking. I actually left me hanging.
Hard to get.
But yeah, and then after a while, I remember thinking, because do I want to focus on a job or do I want to get into a band or whatever? So then, yeah, I ended up just saying, you know what, screw it. And I met up with Lee, and he introduced me to Harry, and it just kind of took off from there. We went through so many different band names, and then I don't know why the name Strangers Club. Yeah, Cherry Red was the first name that we came up with, but it was actually taken by an R&B singer out of America. But yeah, the name Strangers Club to me was just I just pulled it out of a hat. It just seemed like it was. I just loved the random, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like that they don't. You can't be strangers and be a club. And then I kind of thought the bands and their fan clubs are kind of like strangers clubs. It's stupid, but that's just kind of how I rationalized it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think that's cool. It's like the contrast between being in a club and being strangers.
Yeah.
Your new single, Catching Fire, is out on Friday. Can you tell us a bit about the song?
Well, I guess I can speak for the story of the song. So I kind of came to the boys with the riff, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted it to be. So then, and then just kind of, it was one of those songs where we kind of got into the room, and I'd play something, and then Harry immediately added something, and Lee immediately added something, and before you know it, it just became this whole thing like that. But it happened really, really quickly. And how I kind of like to work is we'll work out the music side of it, all of the instrumentation, and then I kind of go away and I listen to it on repeat and kind of get a feel for like what this is going to be, and I'll put some quote unquote poetry over the top, I guess, because I write a lot of poetry aside from songwriting, and yeah, and that's kind of how we work. And I ended up writing this narrative over the top from like a feeling of hopelessness, because the song opens with the line, "My house of cards is catching fire," kind of like this fragility, and then by the end of the song, it's it kind of goes from this point of hopelessness right up to this huge crescendo of I'm going to run, I'm going to get away, I'm going to move to a better place, everything's going to be fine. And yeah,
Well, I'm really someone else, sorry for interrupting, carry on.
I was going to say, I think it's one of those ones where I think as soon as we started playing it, we knew it was just one of those songs where we were all so excited about. I would often come to practice, and we were practicing quite regularly, and we'd often turn up and we'd mess about with a few songs, and then often drop that idea and move on because we couldn't really work it out. But it was one of those ones where as soon as George shown us what he had got so far, we kind of all found our feet with it and just couldn't wipe the grin off our face because we'd finished it quite quickly, I think, even though there was a few switches in the future. But every time we'd come to practice after that, it would be the first thing we'd play and it would be the last thing we'd play as well, because we'd all go away and that would be the one thing that we'd be thinking about. And I think, that's still the case now, even though it's so long since we since we recorded, obviously it was before the pandemic. Even now, I think when we get back together, it'll be the first and last thing we play, because I think we're really proud of that tune.
Well, I'm really lucky to have got to hear it earlier because he sent it to me, and it's a brilliant song. I'm loving it. To me, it's quite different from your last single, Suede, as well, which I also love, and that was at the end of January. And you put Suede to the clip from Friends where Marcel puts the CD on. So which Friends character would each of you be?
I'll take myself. I'll take myself. I think I feel like Harry would probably be Joey Tribbiani.
Okay, Joey. Say Rich is
Forget those vibes.
Rich is cracking those jokes. Rich is a Chandler, and George.
Who's left? Ross Giller.
That's not fair though to give George Ross.
So I've seen that you've been doing some performances outside on the beach. How has lockdown affected you all getting together to do things like this?
I think it's tricky because we're all in completely different places. I mean, we all study, but since lockdown, Rich has been in Bournemouth, George has been just outside of Bournemouth too, and Lee's been in Worcester, and I've been in Somerset. So it's been really tricky. And then when the lockdown was lifted, we managed to basically say, right, one weekend, let's get down there and just smash out as much as we can on the beach, which itself was quite a funny experience. It was freezing cold. We got down on the beach first thing in the morning in Sandbanks in Bournemouth, which was really busy. And obviously being a sunny day, it was packed with people and people walking through, and we're just on the beach, smashed our instruments, which was a bit of a scene in itself. But besides from that, you know, when we've been at home, we've tried to do as much as we can, you know, using mediums like this, and, you know, still trying to stay on top of our own music stuff and trying to figure out how we're going to manage during COVID, because obviously, you know, we're limited to what we can do. But yeah, that beach day was quite fun, but also a bit of a challenge considering how cold it was.
I couldn't feel my fingers, it was 2 degrees.
Well, not particularly on a cold day, but normally, to me, the beach is just, you go there to get the best ice cream. So what's your favourite ice cream flavour?
I'm a Mr. Whippy kind of guy. Just keep it simple. Mr. Whippy with a flake, that's all I like.
It's all about the limon.
Limon?
That's where the party's at.
I think personally, mine's probably like a Sunday or something like that, probably. Complicated.
Rum raisin, 100%.
Good choices. So last year, before the pandemic, you had planned to do Barcode Festival, which has now been rescheduled for this year with Bastille as the headline act. How excited are you for this?
I mean, it's still quite a shock. It's quite weird to think, you know, you see this, you know, where we started off 2 years ago as a band, and we're rapidly moving ahead, and things were going very, very quickly before lockdown. Like that's when we found out about Barcode Festival and everything, and then to see the Strangers Club, just like I say, this name that we pulled out of a hat up there with Bastille is like ridiculous. Like I don't think any of us anticipated that. It really did just take us, like, you know, we celebrated pretty hard after that one. There was repeated hangovers, but yeah, but so it's just still mind-boggling to think about it.
And it's a food festival as well as a music festival, isn't it? Combining my two favourite things, food and music. What is a food that you couldn't live without?
Pizza, for sure. Absolutely, no cap.
Pizza for life.
Probably ramen.
Someone's going to do it.
I couldn't live without pasta. I could eat pasta every day.
I'm pasta tonight. I'm buzzing. My mum's going to whip up some tasty pasta, so I'll let you know what it is.
Cool. Bastille was the first band that I ever really got into. I had I have got loads of their t-shirts, I've seen them live multiple times. I queued outside to get into the audience of an interview they were doing. I was like proper fangirl stuff. So what would you say was the first band or artist that you ever really got into as a kid or like an early teenager?
For me, it was
Ron Lee.
Eminem. So I think in first school, for some reason, my friend lent me this album called Encore, and I just played that over and over. And then I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and watched American Pie, which introduced me to Blink-182, and the whole game changed. And yeah, it's took me on a load of different paths, but I'm now into everything. But I guess that was the beginnings.
I'd say mine was, I listened to Puzzle by Biffy Clyro. Well, actually, no, scrap that. Arctic Monkeys. I listened to Whatever People Say I Am, like their first album, probably at like the beginning of secondary school, even though I'm much younger than when it actually came out. But I think from then, I kind of just became a bit of an instant fan. And ever since, they've been one of my favourite bands. But it just made me, I think I just took a lot of inspiration from how young they were when they got such quick success.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, their debut album being the fastest selling album from like a group boy band or group in the UK of all time. And I just thought that's so cool, considering they're not even in their 20s and they've managed to make this album, which is still held in such high esteem. So that was the album for me, I think.
I think I liked emo music quite a bit, like My Chemical Romance and whatnot, when I was around 12, and I was a little bit embarrassed about that still now. But I think AM by Arctic Monkeys came out when I was around 14, and I think that made me kind of start acting differently. It was kind of like cool and turned me on to this whole new thing. But I think discovering Pink Floyd and the Beatles, like more like these great names you hear about, and then becoming like a music history fan, really turned me on to the idea of music and really made me want to start playing it myself. So I think it was probably Pink Floyd that really made me a fan of music.
No need to be embarrassed of the emo bands. I'm an emo for life.
I think it was Ask Alexandria that I'm especially embarrassed about.
Yeah, I think for me it was Nirvana, in fact, and I've still got that poster up on the wall. It was the first band poster I ever bought, and my mum was going to throw it out, which is why you can see it's like torn off at the sides and stuff. Because when I went to go and change my room, she just thought, I'll throw this thing out. I ended up actually going straight out of the bin. I got it back out because it was my first band poster. I was so proud of Nirvana. But like that was like my real awakening. Was like I remember Kerrang, as most musicians in this country do. You know, it's Kerrang TV when I was like coming up, and Smells Like Teen Spirit was something that played like every hour, and I just remember becoming completely obsessed with Nirvana, and I still am to a large degree, but it's more of like a first band respect. I think, you know, I didn't really come into my own until my dad introduced me to the stuff that he would listen to, like the Rolling Stones or, you know, really old blues singers, B.B. King, Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, people like that. And then Johnny Cash as well, because my dad is a massive country music fan. And I think all of those things have influenced the way that I write music now and play. And yeah.
Well, now I've got some who's most likely to questions so everyone can get to know you a bit better. So first of all, who is most likely to organise you all, make plans, book gigs, stuff like that?
Lee. For sure.
Lee.
The mastermind.
Who is most likely to be late or forget these plans?
Well, I think we found that one out today.
Having to wait for George to join. Who is most likely to be a supervillain?
It's got to be Harry.
What? No.
Because I think Richard's got a dark side. You can imagine him rocking with like, I don't know, Dark Side of the Moon soundtracks behind it, wearing like leather gloves, I think.
I can see that. I can see that.
I think Lee's the most organised to be a supervillain.
Yeah, true.
Maybe that's a good point.
He's more of a villain like Jordan Belfort, like nothing of like, no killing people, but just like, I don't know, doing weird stuff with the stock market.
Cheers. Okay.
Who's most likely to cry at a sad movie or any movie?
George.
I was going to say I'd probably nominate myself for this one.
I think I've seen him do it.
Yeah,
Charlie-
I cried. Oh, that was it. Wall-E. I watched that the other day, and it was the second time I've watched it, and I still cried at it. It's just so sad.
Yeah, Wall-E is very sad.
Yeah, got me.
Who is most likely to break a world record?
Oh,
I feel like you've got it in you, Harry.
I just don't know what. I don't know, most hula hoops on that one.
Most sing towels in 10 minutes.
Yeah, most sing towels in 10
Most
minutes.
ears chopped in 10 minutes. Alright, I'll take that one.
So, to summarise, we have Catching Fire out this Friday, and everybody watching, you can go and pre-save that, and you should stream Suede while you're at it. And we have Barcode Festival in July. Is there anything else we should be looking forward to from the Strangers Club this year?
We're going to be back making stuff as soon as we can, any day now, hopefully. And I'm sure if you go on our socials, we'll have exciting stuff coming out really soon.
Right up there on the horizon. There's definitely going to be an EP in the works, but like that's real hush hush for now. So like we're gonna, just keep an eye out because it's going to be coming for sure. Maybe even this year.
Well, I look forward to it. Thank you for talking to me today, and thank you to everyone who is watching. I'll include links to the Strangers Club in the description, and look out for Catching Fire on Friday. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.